Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is chapter 13 of Chance Ball, and this one is titled, Oh, Dabi, Baby. Here is just a polite warning before we start. There is a scene in this chapter that I've had to skip quite heavily over, but as you all know, the completed book without any of the scenes being chopped out can be found on my Quirky Fanfics website. The link is free from my Patreon. Patreon is the same name as here, MLB224 Fanfics. Free to join to get to the website to read the scenes that have been taken out. If you dare. That I should add that in, if you dare. Okay, so without further ado, let's keep going on the chapter. You're kind of serious? You ask quizzically. You don't sound very convincing. Dabi walked towards the net and ducked under it, walking right over to you, his turquoise eyes locking you into place as he moved. I've never been more serious about anyone or anything in my life, he said lowly, as he scooped an arm around your back and pulled you into him. I don't want anyone else but you, he added. Be mine, forever. Idiot, you replied, quite flustered by his forwardness. You still didn't believe that he was that serious about you. Oh, he's just trying to assert dominance over me, you thought. I'll give you time to think about it, he said softly. Just don't say no. Well, what kind of options do I have then? You scoffed. Yes or yes, Dabi replied nonchalantly as he let you go and walked away, heading back to the other side of the net. Looks like I better win then, so you take me to dinner because I don't know if your options are fair, you called after him. Okay, Dabi called as he turned around to face you, crouching slightly to ready himself to return your serve. Your choices are yes or mega yes. You snorted. Okay, well, when I win, I'm going to get pizza with heaps of olives and you have to eat them, you jeered. Oh, babe, you know I hate olives, he said with a sad look on his face. Well, let's eat 3 olives or eat more, you replied. It's about as fair as your wager, so what are you complaining about? Yeah, but you like me, so my wager is good with both options, he replied with a smirk. You scowled slightly. Something feels odd about this wager thing, though. I feel railroaded. Okay, we'll option this, you shouted, running towards the court and springing up while tossing the ball up. Your hand connected squarely with the ball, and it went jetting across the net straight towards Dabi. He jumped back slightly so he could get his arms under it from behind, and barely managed to get any power into it to send it back to you. But it made it back to your side of the net through sheer momentum off your serve. You were ready for it and jumped to spike it straight down, but Dabi was already one step ahead of you and punched under it just as you touched it, sending it back up into the air above you. You crouched again when you landed and jumped, stretching up to tap it over the net with your hand, but Dabi had jumped up too, and his height gave him an advantage, allowing him to pitch it over the top of your fingers and drop it down behind you. Ugh, damn it, you cursed as you landed. That's the first step down the aisle, baby, Dabi said proudly as he walked back towards his start point. Because I'm so generous, I'll let you serve again, he added with a sly wink. Your brows knitted in annoyance, and for a split second there you refocused. You turned around and retrieved the ball, walking back to the edge of the court and lining up your next toss. You threw it straight up and made it look as if you were going for a hard serve, but at the last minute you punted it with a flat palm and did the most beautiful float serve anyone had ever seen. Oh crap, Dabi grunted as he realised what you'd done, and ran forwards to return it, but the ball was all over the place and he failed to save it. Do you want 1 can or 2 of olives on your pizza? You called out cheekily. It was an even score, 2-2. This is the decider, baby. Start thinking about your wedding dress, yeah? Or are we just going to skip straight to consummating? He leered, tongue poking out slightly to add to the suggestiveness of his comment. I'm so glad everyone has either left or is still chaining you, perverted strip of bacon. He laughed and picked up the ball. I'll serve this time, he said, walking back to the start point. He lobbed you a huge serve, but being a libero, you'd returned it easily, sending it to the furthest point from him. His lankiness gave him an extra reach, so unfortunately he managed to get his arm under it and send it back to you. So you swiftly returned to mid-court, and he returned that one as well, sending it back to your court. You turned and ran back, punting it over your shoulder without looking to see where it had gone, and as luck would have it, when you turned, you saw it had gone to the net on an impossible-to-return angle, and sank down on his side, sending him sliding off court in his desperate attempt to return it. Yes, bitches! Pizzas it is! You hollered, doing a victory dance. Dabi rolled and picked himself up off the court. Let's go round 2, baby, he called hopefully. Nah, dude, you lost. You owe me dinner. I'm hungry. Let's go, he replied brightly. He sighed. Okay, fine. But only because you're cute and you're my wife. Wait, I never agreed to be your wife. You haven't even proposed yet, he yelled. Okay. Yin, will you marry me? He asked, stopping dead in his tracks to look at you. Nope, you responded with a grin. Why? He asked, his shoulders slumping. Wait, is he being serious? He actually looks like he's seriously asking. Like, genuinely asking. Surely not. Nah, he's just playing. I'm just messing with you, baby boy. Just like you are, he replied with a wink, walking over to him with ball under arm. But I'm not messing, he replied, his turquoise eyes flashing with unknown emotions as he looked away. You felt a little uncomfortable, so changed the subject. Okay, well, let's get dinner, yeah? We got plenty of time to chat. He nodded glumly as he walked off to get changed, while you turned to put the ball away and clean up for him. Why is he like this all of a sudden, you thought? Dabi entered the now empty change room and sighed. So much had happened in his life, but the only thing that he felt like was a consistently good thing was you. You had become intrinsically tied with his emotional stability, and he feared that if he lost you, he'd go off the deep end. If I ask her to marry me, then that's it. She'll say yes. I won't have to worry about anything ever again. That had been his thought process. You waited for him at the gym door, and it wasn't long before he appeared with that confident, sly grin on his face as he sauntered towards you with hands in pockets. He walked up and turned you around so he could hug you from behind as he walked you out the door, with his arms wrapped around your waist and lips nibbling on your ear. You giggled and struggled to get free as he continued to walk you towards the school gates, shuffling along behind you as he pressed himself firmly into your behind. Dabi, what have I told you about carrying a torch in your pants? You scolded him playfully, referring to something else that he was sporting. You want to play with it? He asked slowly. Safer than playing with fire. We can make shadow puppets. I don't even know what you're trying to refer to with shadow puppets, you said with a laugh. Whatever you want to make of it, baby. Let your mind run wild, he said in a raspy voice, kissing you firmly on the neck. You laughed and struggled to get free, running ahead a few steps before turning around and walking backwards so you could look at him as you talked. His mesmerizing turquoise eyes watched you as you walked. He looked like a starved wolf, ready to devour you at any moment. So, you asked, what are you going to get for dinner? You, he replied, lowering his head slightly and smirking, still watching you intently. Ugh, are you always going to be like this? You asked with faux exasperation. Man's got to eat, baby, and you've been holding out on me for a while. I'll go get between those delicious thighs of yours, he said, licking his lips. Okay, baby, well, let me eat first and then we can have some playtime in my room later, he said with a wink. Dabi grinned, the most mischievous, sexy grin you'd ever seen, and you giggled excitedly. Tonight was going to be fun. You got your pizza and very graciously didn't force Dabi to eat the olives. He was most well-mannered too, only taking one opportunity to squeeze your ass as you got up to go to the toilet at the pizza place. Apart from that, he didn't try any other sneaky moves, which you appreciated greatly. When you got home, the lights were all off and your mum had left a note on the kitchen bench. Everyone out, be back late, XOXO, the note said. Dabi chuckled lowly when you read the note to him. Perfect, he snickered. Now you can scream my name and I will interrupt. Dabi followed suit and lay down with you, sweat beading across his bare chest, and you ran your fingers over him as you gazed into his eyes lovingly. Yin, I really do love you, he suddenly said softly. I want to marry you. Again with the marriage thing, you grunted. Why are you suddenly so obsessed with it? Because I want to be with you, forever, he said seriously. What, you don't want this kind of action every day? He asked cheekily, referring to the hot session you two had just had. I can already get this every day, you did. Dabi's face fell. So you don't want to marry me? Dabi, listen, I want to know why you're obsessing over this. Do you feel like we're not going to be okay in our relationship as it is? Are you worried I'll leave you? You were the one who called it off with me last time, remember? I should be the worried one. We've been taking turns breaking up though, so technically it's your turn this time, he said with a sly smile. Oh, I don't get you, Dabi, you're hiding something, you replied, narrowing your eyes at him. Not hiding anything, he said as he sat up and started cleaning himself up. Your pie hole is a lie hole, you said with a sigh. When will you be able to confide in me? I already do, he said, pulling his boxers back on. Okay, I'm not talking about your fetishes and fantasies. You'd share them with anyone. Like that time you told the checkout chick at the supermarket you're into sniffing women's hair, you cringed. God, I can't take you anywhere. Dabi laughed, tossing you a fresh pair of pants from your clothes drawer. She loved knowing. She thinks about it daily, I can tell. It's her fetish now too. She's got a thing for not looking at me in the eye every time I go back to there to buy anything. I really don't think that's it, you laughed. I'm pretty sure she's embarrassed as hell and can't look at you. Nah, it's a fetish, Dabi said dismissively as he walked back over to the bed. You're such a doofus, you said with a giggle as he collapsed onto you, engulfing you in a topless cuddle as he snuggled into your bare chest. Talk to me, Dabi. What is it that's making you want to get married, apart from being in love with me? You said softly, running your fingers through his roguish black hair. He lay quietly for a while, and you just let the silence hang, waiting for him to reply to you. I don't want to sound like a completely whipped pussy-ass bitch, he finally said gruffly. Bitch, you're already a whipped pussy-ass. The hell are you on about? You think you're hard? You said with a laugh, still ruffling his hair. There's honestly nothing you could do or say that could surprise me. Actually, scrap that because you're always full of surprises. But anyway, just tell me, you said in a slightly pleading voice. He sighed heavily. Okay, I'm being dead serious when I say this. So if you laugh, I'm going to break into the school's broadcast room tomorrow and give a very detailed rundown of what we just did today over the PA system. I solemnly swear, you said firmly. God, how embarrassing, you added with a shudder. Ooh, and there ends chapter 13. Stay tuned for chapter 14 coming tomorrow. I'll see you then.